Hello guys and welcome to another live stream. Today we are making a picture of Fallout. So yeah, this is the picture that we're going to make today. Video game. It's a long time since we have done a video game character, so it's time. So yeah, I have to use the fan today. That's why you're probably hearing it. Hello boy there, Cowroy. So yeah, let me turn on music and let's get to scrolling. you everyone in chat. The stencil is mine. The design is obviously not me who made Fallout. Just working some of the boring details at the moment. Okay. Working on the head now. Thank you to everyone in chat. Awesome. Oh, sorry I can't pronounce your name. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's find some new music for you guys. Let's do this one.
cycle in the neon of the night. We are the last resistance against the digital tide. In the void of persistence, our humanity will survive. Break the chains, reclaim the night in the heart of this mind. fight. Tired of living in fright. Change day into night. Press the button, stop the chatter. Let's see what really matters. Turn this world into glowing batter. Erase the world you shattered. Don't threaten it anymore, just do it. Fear spreads faster than the news. Stop at the games, let's light the fuse. No more skirting around the edges. Dance among the smoky hedges. Don't threaten it anymore, just do it. We dare any of you.
Okay. Done with the lettering.
let the future rhyme. Gatekeepers cut it, power slips away. Digital revolution, taking down decay. Future in the hands of code all the way. Time for real talent, watching fade to gray.
God, that's a lot of text. Today, slow. Custom orders. Wow. I see. Okay, we got some more details left in the picture. I don't know if you guys can see it, but we do have, it's in this corner right here. So, yeah, I've been waiting to do those because I hate them. They're so boring. Just small cuts, but I have to do them because it's gonna make the picture pop a little bit. So yeah, but if anyone do have any questions, let me know. It's usually hard for me to talk when scrolling at the same time, but I'm gonna take a little time now to just answer any questions if you want me to. And yeah, Good work, very clean lines. Cool, thank you so much. By the way, I do have a fan in the background. If you hear it, it's that. It's a Black Shark, actually. It's a good fan if you need it for your mobile. If your mobile overheats a lot, I recommend it. By the way, I'm not sponsored by them, so don't worry. Two more, three more maybe? Yeah. Okay, I have one cut left to do, but I forgot to make a hole in it, so I'm just gonna do that fast. It's nothing fancy. Nice. Okay, let me just check it if it's actually done. Sometimes you forget one and then you're like, oh shit. But I do think we are done. What about this one? Yeah, that's good. All good. So then we're just gonna do what we usually do. What? I can't talk today. I've been going too long today, I think. Now we're just gonna remove the tape, the blue tape, and then we're gonna sand it down a little bit and oil it. And I did buy new frames, so we're actually gonna put this in a frame. An hour and a half, yes. It I started to get tired at the end there. Could you tell? I was like, okay, I might need to make this a two-parter, but I was like, okay, I really want to finish this. Let me turn off the fan. It's probably annoying. But yeah, I did buy new frames, but I've actually bought all the black flames in that store. Sorry. So I had to go with some white ones and also some silver ones, which I've never bought before. So that's that has been interesting. So I do prefer the black frames, but the white ones at least works well. I haven't tried the silver ones yet. I'll show you guys afterwards what I mean. I think I have like maybe 5 black frames or something, so this might actually go in a black frame, but yeah, I've literally emptied the store of black frames, because we have now officially, well, it's actually been some time ago, but we have made over 100 pictures live on stream. So yeah. Good afternoon from Brazil. Oh, that's so cool. Hello from Norway. Brazil. Sepultura. Yeah. So yeah, this is all I'm doing. I'm sorry, I know it's boring, but yeah, it's the struggle of the blue tape. Again, I'm thinking we have, or we don't have to, but it would be cool if we made a side character. Side character, is that the right word? Like a Robin, you know, to the Doom Scroller, which is the superhero that we made on stream. It would be nice to make something that is, or almost like a, you know, a sidekick to that person that had to do with blue tape or something. You rock. Thank you. Thank you, dude. So yeah, something that has to do with the blue tape would be funny. We also talked a little bit about because I make everything in MDF at the moment. Maybe we should do an MDF character. You know, if anyone has any good suggestions for superhero names or characters that we should be making, I'm interested in it. You know, to support the Doom Scroller character. Oh, and if you're into scroll sawing, I do have some free stencils on my homepage. If you are interested, just feel free to use that for whatever purpose you feel like. I have scrolled them on stream, so they are scroll tested. So yeah. Would love to see more people get into scroll sawing. Such a cool hobby. I really like it. Thank you, Nanny. Okay, I'll take a look. Cool, 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 cool. I'm going to add more stencils to the homepage for people to download. I just have to sort of, I don't want to, sometimes I make these pictures where other people have designed it, so I don't want to steal anything. It's very important to me that, you know, I'm honest about what I'm doing here, so, you know, I don't want to mess with anyone's, you know, copyright or whatever. Oh, come on, come on. Soon gotten this stuff off. Here we go. Looks great, I think. Wow. I'm very, very happy with this. This turned out really cool, I think. Gotta say. Okay, let me turn the camera around. I'll turn on some music and we'll keep doing what we do. But yeah. Give me a second. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, I will turn on music because then I work faster, and this part is really not like a chatty thing.
toxic grip on the reins. Industry shaking, outdated in their veins. Artificial mind disrupting all their plans. Watch them panic, sweating in their suits and brands. They push the same old sounds, same old names. AI coming through, burning all their claims. Computers in the book creating sonic flames. No more puppeteers breaking free from chains. Gatekeepers got it, power slips away. Digital revolution, taking down decay. Future in the hands of code all the way. Time for real talent, watch them fade to gray. AXX, watch them scramble and twitch. Tech on the rise, flipping every switch. Their empire crumbles, every stone and brick. Artificial dream, breaking every trick. Auto to wizards, craving every dime. AI cuts deep, slaying them in time. New era dawns, algorithms climb. Free the people's voice, let the future.
Okay, guys, done with another picture. Fallout. Turned out pretty cool. Happy with it. Okay. Well. What's the next one going to be? I have something that I think is cool, but it makes more sense if you're a child of the 90s, I mean. So yeah, I think you might like it if you're a child of the 90s. Like, I'm the kind of kid, I used to rush home from school to watch this show. You guys remember this? See, I think this could be fun to scroll, you know? If you ever watched the show. I was such a fan. I always rushed to drive my bike as fast as I could home from school to watch Friends. So I thought it would be fun to make a picture of Friends. But I know it's very like 90s sort of thing. So if you're a little bit younger, you're probably like, oh, that sucks. That show sucks or whatever, you know. But yeah, I'm thinking maybe we could do that on Sunday. I do also have another option, of course, and it's a little bit more modern game. It's this one. This is also very detailed work. I'm fairly sure I can say that this is a two-parter. I don't think I'm gonna finish this in one day. So I might wait a little bit with this one, but this is Hollow Knight. Also a really cool picture that I want to do. So yeah. Small step from superheroes to yeah. Well, you know, we're not done with superheroes by no means. I am wondering if I'm starting to sort of land on doing, because I've been talking about doing another big picture like this. Like the Avenger one, you can see. We need one here. So I was thinking, well, we did talk a little bit about maybe doing Guardians of the Galaxy, but I personally really want to do some DC characters. So I did think about maybe doing Justice League. Oh my god, let me do something about the lighting. Does that work? No. Doesn't matter. Love Marvel, yeah. I like both of them. I think it could be interesting to do Justice League. I know it's DC, and I know Marvel has a bigger fan base, but you know, Batman is a cool character. I just can't deny it. I really like the way that DC did Aquaman. Turned out to be cool. It was the dumbest superhero in the world, but they made him cool. They casted him well, you know. So I'm thinking maybe we could do that. But if people absolutely hate it and no one's going to watch the stream, obviously that's not a good idea. So yeah. let's be honest, Joey was a superhero. I think they all were. I think they all were. Yeah, I think it's a cool picture, and I think it could be fun to see it scrolled. I've never seen anything like this scroll wise. So, but this is obviously not my stencil. This is, I fixed it up a little bit. I added the Friends logo, and I fixed the face and everything, because all of their faces was like distorted the way they looked, so it just looked ridiculous. So I have fixed the stencil to look more clean, but I'm not gonna claim this as sort of my stencil. Absolutely not. But yeah, just being honest about it, you know. So that might happen on Sunday. Thank you to everyone who has been watching this stream today. I really appreciate it, and all the love and everything. I'm gonna scroll up and see if there was any messages I haven't seen, because I have been going crazy today on the scroll. So there's a lot of hey comments. Yeah, no, I think we're good. Adrian, in chat I often see questions, so what music we listen to. Yeah, I've had that since the beginning of my stream. Is your playlist public? If so, I used to have all the songs that I use on stream on earlier live shows, but the two last ones I don't have that. I've just sort of made it a lot, because it was just so much text, I felt like, in the live stream you know, description thing, that I felt it was a little bit just it felt so crowded with so much stuff, you know. So I removed it from there. But yeah, maybe I should sort of put those playlists somewhere where people can check it out. But yeah, also you're already 25% of your way from 4K. Wow, really cool. I hope you got that Professor Adrian extensive. No, I'm not. But yeah, we probably should announce that somewhere, that if we get to 5K subscribers, I'll do what people have been asking me to do, and I'll make myself into Professor X, and we'll make a stencil out of it. It's funny. My girlfriend died laughing when she heard it. So yeah, anything that humiliates me, she's for some reason. I don't know if that's a good thing. So yeah, but I'm absolutely up for doing that. It was a pretty big success when we did when I did that self-portrait, which I didn't think anyone was going to show up for that. So that was so fun to see that people really liked that and thought the whole picture was cool and everything. That was a lot of fun, because I literally thought we were going to be like 2 people in chat, you know. So that was fun. Anyway, guys, please subscribe if you're not subscribed. We're trying to get to 5K so we can make a stupid picture of me again. And I'll see you on Sunday. Usually I would stream on Saturday, but I'm going to Tonso Rock in Oslo in Norway. So if you're going to that festival and you see me, then say hey or whatever. But I don't think Norwegian people watch my show, so doesn't matter. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next stream. Bye-bye.